it's Webby again. Welcome back to another video, and welcome back to the second in the series of hot hatch videos that I'm making. Today I've got the Volkswagen Golf R, so I have to say a big huge thanks to Berwick Volkswagen for lending me the car for the weekend. So we're going to have a look around the car, we'll go for a drive, I'll show you the inside and outside of the vehicle. So without further ado, let's get started. So here we are, the Volkswagen Golf R. This is known as the 7.5 version. The Golf R originally came out on the Mark 6 Golf, continued on the Mark 7, and now we're here on the 7.5. There is going to be a new model with the Mark 8 Golf, which I believe is due to, it's still sort of another year or so away, but who knows. But it's a good looking car. You've got these new sort of LED headlamps at the front, which are also on the GTI models. The bumper is slightly different styling to the GTI, just the lower fog light section, and there's extra radiators in there for cooling. When you come around the side of the car, it actually comes standard with these really nice 19-inch alloys, just to sort of differentiate it a little bit from the GTI. You've got the R badging there on the side. So as you can see, it's quite a subtle car. It's not kind of like massive spoilers, big wings, bonnet scoops and all that sort of stuff. There's only a couple of real sort of telltale signs. The other one, if you look down, you can just see the quad exhaust tips. So you've got two on either side, and obviously just that little R badge on the back of the boot lid. So it is really sort of subtle. It's only when you kind of like, put your foot down, you know this is something a little bit special. Also, if you're a bit of a, I suppose, a hot hatch fan, you'll spot it straight away. A lot of people, you see heaps of these things driving around. A very popular car. So like I say, it doesn't really look too much different from a standard Golf, which I think is quite a good thing, because it's nice to have that sort of sleeper effect. I suppose people don't expect it to go quite as quickly as it does. And when you've got 213 kilowatt under the bonnet and full drive, it's quite a potent little car. The other small difference between this and the GTI is you get these sort of brushed aluminium effect door mirrors as well. So it's just a couple of sort of small styling cues just to differentiate it from the GTI. If we step inside, one of the other big differences is that full leather trim is actually standard, which is quite nice. And then on the driver's seat, you also get electric adjustment for the seat. You get a lumbar support, and you've also got 3 memory positions as well. They're really supportive seats, very sort of comfortable, hold you in when you go around corners. And then you've just got the little R logo there on the back of the seat as well. You've got the beautiful flat bottom steering wheel, which is lovely to hold. It's not too thick, it's just right. So yeah, it's a nice place to be. You've got the darker roof lining as well. I think personally I'd have it with a sunroof, just because it is a little bit dark in there. Yeah, it's just a bit more light in the car would be nice. As you can see, it's sort of quite dark in there. So we've got this lovely digital dash here on the Golf R. Takes up the whole instrument binnacle, so everything is digital, there's nothing analog at all. So you've got your rev counter on the left and speedo on the right, and then in the middle you can have things like your navigation, or you can switch it across and you can look at things like your audio. You can go into your phone book, you can look at any warning messages from the car. Lap timer, there's an interesting one. Seems like Volkswagen are encouraging you to go on a racetrack at some stage. Driving data is just like your fuel consumption and bits and pieces, and then you can go into adjust your driver assist systems, and then scroll back around to your navigation. So it's actually quite cool, and it's actually really simple to use, just with the buttons here on the steering wheel. On the other side, you've just got the buttons for the adaptive cruise control and adjusting the volume for your radio as well. You've got your little paddles there just behind each side, if you're up and down on the gears, for the gears. And then we've got this really nice, huge digital display for the sat nav and the radio and that type of thing. If we just press the home button, it takes us kind of to the main menu. The thing I notice about it, I've got the same system in my 2016 Golf, but obviously it's a much smaller screen, and the clarity is not quite as good as this one. It's just a nice thing to look at. You can just press the map, you go into your navigation, you can do like your search options there as well. It's just a really sort of nice thing to look at and use, and being that big, you haven't got to sort of take your eyes off the road too long to see where you're going. If we go into, actually I'll just plug my phone in and show you the Apple CarPlay, because that's quite impressive too. There you go, so that's Google Maps. How cool does that look? I can say it's nice having such a big screen. As you know, if you've used Apple CarPlay, all your apps come over. You can just swipe across. You can even look at your Spotify as well, all your playlists and everything there, which is quite cool. Yeah, I'm really impressed by that. That's like I say, it's just actually it's probably almost double the size of mine. Mine's I think a 6-inch screen or something like that. So that's quite a big difference. But the actual inside of the car, it is very similar to my 2016 Golf, which is, to me, is a nice thing. I like that, because I think the Golf has got a really nice interior anyway. Some people say it's a bit bland and a bit boring, but obviously, you know, everyone's got their own opinion on these things. I quite like it myself. It's got the black headlining, which is standard on the sports models. I think I'd have it with the panoramic sunroof if it was me. Just feels a little bit dark in here, but then I'm used to the sunroof on my car. So here we are inside the Golf R now. So I'm going to take it for a bit of a drive and see just how everything sort of, you know, gels together. You know, the 213 kilowatt turbocharged engine, the 7-speed DSG, the 4-wheel drive, and just see what the differences are, how different it feels compared to a GTI. Because obviously there's an obvious difference between the two cars, so it'll be interesting to see, you know, what the differences feel like when you actually get out on the road. So yeah, let's go for a drive and see what we think. So I'm just going to start in comfort mode just to sort of see what that's like, which I think is something, you know, people may use as just a day-to-day type of thing. You know, if they're not trying to sort of press on, if they just want a, you know, an everyday sort of comfortable drive. And yeah, it seems, you know, perfectly nice. It's comfortable, it's easy to drive, but you can just feel that, you know, you haven't got to push the accelerator too hard, and it will just turn into a completely different animal. And when you got your foot on the accelerator, just the slightest touch from your foot, and all of a sudden you're sort of going, you know, some ridiculous speed, and you think, oh, geez, I better slow down. It's a car you could definitely lose your license in pretty quick, I reckon, because you just don't necessarily get that sensation of speed, because it's, you know, it's quiet in here, it's comfortable, and yeah, it's just sort of like, oh, Jesus, I'm doing whatever speed you're doing. So yeah, you do have to have no lead boots here. You have to be very, very gentle on the accelerator. But it's not one of those hot hatches that you have to drive it hard 100% of the time to get the best out of it. It is a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde car, so you can just drive it normally, put it in drive, off you go, very comfortable. But then on the other side of things, if you want to go out and have a bit of fun, you know, you stick it in race mode, and yeah, the car will do, you know, pretty much exactly what you want it to do. The nice thing is, if you do find yourself going a little bit too quickly or quicker than you thought, the brakes are very responsive. You can stamp on them pretty hard and they'll bring you to a stop very quickly, which is quite comforting when you consider how quickly this thing picks up speed. You can just leave the gearbox in the automatic mode, and it will do exactly what you want. But at the same time, if you want to have a bit of control or what have you, then yeah, stick it in manual mode, and you can control the fun. You hear of people taking these Golf Rs and tuning them, and you think, why are you doing that? You know, this car is perfectly quick enough, you know, for everyday use, for having a bit of fun with. But I guess some people out there just want a bit more. Yeah, I don't think I would, to be honest. You know, you can scare yourself a bit, even just as a standard car. You know, if you've got another 50 to 100 kilowatt of power, that's a serious bit of kit then. So as I say, this is in comfort mode, so we've got nice light steering, the suspension is in the sort of softest mode. The accelerator has got, I suppose, a little bit of a delay to the input to what you want it to do, but it's still quite responsive. When you put your foot down a bit harder, it'll drop a couple of gears and off she goes. So I'm going to try the next mode, which that puts us into normal. So I'm going to see what the differences are compared to the comfort mode. So I think there's a bit more weight to the steering in the normal mode. It's a little bit heavier. But I can't really notice anything else. The suspension feels maybe slightly firmer. So I guess it's just sort of gradual steps up towards the race mode. So now I've put it into race mode. Yeah, you can tell the difference automatically. Just leaving the gearbox in automatic, it's definitely hanging on to the gears a little bit longer. You get that sort of artificial noise pumped into the cabin to make it sound a bit more aggressive, and you can definitely feel the suspension is firmer too. Oh yeah, she picks up right. Not sure how well that sound actuator will pick up on the microphone, but it's definitely more pronounced than in the normal or the comfort mode, when you're putting your foot down sort of quite hard. I guess they're making up for, you know, now with all these filters they have to put on cars for emissions and noise regulations and all that sort of stuff. To have the sound actuator inside the car, it just brings back a bit of the fun factor, I suppose, because all the noise regulations are sort of trying to kill off people having fun in their car, I suppose. Gear changes are really responsive too. I'd say this newer sort of 7-speed dual clutch transmission, you only got to sort of hit the paddle behind the steering wheel and yeah, instant changes. It's really impressive. So that was a pretty impressive drive, I have to say. It was nice trying out the different drive modes on the car just to see, you know, how it affects the nature of the steering, the suspension, the accelerator, and it's nice to sort of have that option of what you want the car to do. You've also got the individual mode as well, so you can actually pick and choose how you want the car to behave. So if you wanted softer suspension but, you know, a quicker throttle response or harder steering, then you can mix and match everything just to your own like, which is really, really good, because obviously, you know, everybody wants something different, so it's nice to have that option as well. So that's the video of the Volkswagen Golf R, another in the hot hatch series for my channel. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a fun car to drive. So I've got to say a big thanks again to Berwick Volkswagen for lending me the car for the weekend. Much appreciated. If you're looking for a hot hatch, definitely try one. I don't think you'd be disappointed. It's a really nice car to drive. It feels luxurious at the same time as well, so it make a good daily. If you've got any comments or questions about this video or the actual car itself, post them in the comments below and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to find out when the next video goes live, and hit the notification bell to be notified about it as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next one.